All right. So what we did yesterday was basically just try to check the tables, and while we're working on table presentation, it's so what I'm going to do right now, I'll go back to that table and do one or two things we're supposed to sort out. Then we'll go to question and answer session, which I usually do on a Sunday, so I can refresh our just stay on the call. Um, like recall or something. I need to check for this. Okay, yes, 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 yes. Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. So yesterday we still still working on the tables, and I did make made mention of what is table, the type of tables we have. Where we have the core extended, we have the base table, we have the custom table, and I did a demo presentation of a table that was created. So I'm just going to go back to that same place. All right, so the basic step when you create your table, you just go to your tables under your service system definition. You can go sys underscore, let me see what it's called. So it's called sys underscore db object underscore list dot do. That's your table list. So in case you want to know, I've always said you go to this URL just after your target. The name you see there is the name you can use to get. Hello. All right, so I'm just going to continue. I got kicked out by the admin. Sorry about that. I'm just going to use this one from here. All right, guys, like I was saying, so if I go to new table, for instance, just a quick one, there's something I want to just show you guys before I move over to the next one. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a table, for instance. Let me see if they got there's an incident table here. I'll go to this. Under that, I click on label. So when you have a table name and you are trying to find the table you just created, just go to label. You will be able to see the table that has been created. So if I click on this incident, now under the incident, you go to show map and you click on show map. So under show map, you will be able to see what is called your schema map there. That's where you see your schema. So now when you say schema, schema is just a graphical representation of the relationship of your table to other table. It shows you that relationship between a parent and a child. So if I click, if you can see, there's what they call, if you click on, no, I'm clicking the wrong place. So if you click on show labels, it's going to show you all the labels here. Right now, when you click on show reference table, so we've clicked on everything basically. Now, with this diagram, you can see that tax table, tax incident is the parent, and incident is the child, and it got the what? All the attributes of the parent. So if you're trying to create a table, you can either create a table using you can create a table using extension, so you can extend from a task table, or you can create a table from the scratch. So whichever one you choose to create with depends on what you get. So if you're trying to just create something different that does not have a table, then you can also use that. With that, I just want to know if we had any question concerning what we did yesterday. Does anyone have any question before we go to the quiz of the day? And after the quiz, we're going to work on ACL today, which is basically access control list. It's quite an important function in ServiceNow, a part of ways to reduce restriction to application. So without wasting time, I'm just going to bring up the questions for the day. All right, can you all see my screen? If you can see my screen, I need thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Lovely. All right, so we're going to start with, we're going to work on, because we've done list, we've done user, group, and roles. We've done the introduction to ServiceNow. Last week, we did some questions on that. So if you've not watched that, go and watch that, because these are exams questions that you're going to go through. Like I've said, I'll repeat again. What we're doing here, I'm going to do my part. You're also going to do your part. Only the past questions, sometimes you might not pass alone. So whenever you're doing your university, when you go to ServiceNow University and you're doing the course, try to take note of some things there, what they are saying. Try to listen. and try to, if it's possible for you, take some notes, jot some notes so that you can save some key things because they might ask you in your exam. One, two, when you are doing the assignment, each of these assignments, don't just click. Take note of the URL, that's name of each of those tables. Take note of them. Like for user, 6 underscore what? User. Take notes. So if you know all those things, if you are observant about those things, when you see the questions, it's going to be very easy for you to go through with it. Now, the first question, this is a diagram. Ignore catalog tags. We've not got into there, but this is a diagram. Now, what's the question? It says, which part would you take to access the table configuration page from a form? A, yeah, you can speak, Jackson. Unmute yourself.
Elax configure.
You said?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was saying configure, but I think I see the options there.
So what's
That's
your
C.
answer?
That's D.
A. Okay, so what we
D.
are going
D.
to do,
D.
anyone on mute, please. This is going to be an interactive session. We'll just have about 30 minutes to just go through with these questions. We have about 20 questions, or no, we have 18 questions, guys. So I need everyone to get involved in this part. So, all right. So the question is, how did you get to the table, right? And the first thing I use chat because of the net. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Can use chat. So I'll open the chat down so I can see the answers. All right. I think that will be easy for everyone. So everyone, just there's no need to talk. Just go to your chat for the first question. Question number one. Put your answer there. Drop your answer. You just have 10 seconds, please. I have a timer here. So everyone, drop your answer for number one, please. Okay. 1D. Others, carry on, please. Just drop an answer, please. B. Okay. Who's next? Okay, I'm waiting for you. Okay, Anime, drop your answer, please. We don't have time. Okay, okay. Okay, I understand you. Ime, what about you? What's your answer? All right, without wasting much time, the answer is D. Why? Because if you go back to that, no, the answer is not D. So the question here say, which part would you take to access a table configuration page from a form? So when you go to your form, if you go to your form, if you right click on your form, you see a form context menu. Now, when you see your form context menu, you click on configure. Different lists will display. Under that list, you will see table. So that's where you have to be observant. Now, if it's a list, I would agree with you on about even that part of the view. But there's nothing that has to do with the view when you're talking about a form. So the answer is D. Now, number two, on the form header, which element would you use to access form templates? I need to correct. Which element would you use to access a form template? A, stamp. B, more option. All right. Oh, that's for Jackson. Tony, what's the answer, please? Email, what's your answer? Okay. Tony, what about you? If you don't have answer, just help us and put no answer so that we can continue. Hmm. Okay, the answer is correct. Is B. So if you check, that's why I actually showed it. So these are specific things I try to do. I don't just teach you what you just want to, just a garbage like. So I teach you things that I know that you can still use them and you can still get them in your exam questions, right? Okay. So that one, everyone got that question. Now we'll go on to the next one. On a form, which type of field, which type of field has this icon which can be clicked to see the preview of the associated record? A. Look up. B. Preview. C. Reference. D. Snapshot. E. Quick view. And F. Drill down. What's the answer? What's the answer for number three, please? Okay, I need more. Jackson, what's your answer? Tony, what's your answer, please? Okay, Jackson, what's the answer? All right, no one is wrong. So it's when you see something like this, it's a reference. So when you check the questions again, it said which of the form type, so which type of field has this icon which can be clicked to see a preview of the associated record. Now, when you check, that is the essence of your reference. So if you reference to a user, when you click on that, you'll be able to see the list of people on that users. So that's the reference. So when they say a survey user, it's a list of people you can pick from that survey. So it's only with reference that you can do that. So the answer is B. C, reference. C, reference, not B, sorry. Number 4. Now, why showing a customer their incident form, they asked to change the priority held, a priority field, sorry. We'll try to get this stuff, it's fields, right? Title to display their internal terminology p-value. How would you do that? Choose to. How would you do that? Choose to. So are you going to right click on priority, select configure label? Are you going to right click on priority, select configure dictionary? Are you going to right click on priority, select configure? So what are you going to do? Choose two answers, please. No clue. All right, when we get to PDI, we're going to check that so that you can see. Well, what you are going to do is you can uh, configure the label and also configure the dictionary. Like the label is the name. So what they're asking for, say they want to change the priority field title to display their internal terminology. So if you want to display the internal, when you go to that label, we're going to check it there also so that you see that or you see that for yourself. Now, what model would you use if you want to view a list of all of the fields on the incident table? I know I've not explained all these ones to you, but I just explained one at the start of the class, which is schema. Now, if you want to see all the, if you want to see all the list of all the fields of an incident table, if you go to your schema, which is F, you can see that. Then when you go to service now, if you go to under tables and columns specifically, you can also see the list of all the fields. Take note. Now, which tools is used to define the relationship between fields in an import set table and a target table? I've not taught this one, so I'm going to skip it till when we do it. But I taught this one, this part, number 7. I've done number 7. So the question is, what is the name of the table relationship where two or more tables are related in a bidirectional relationship so that the related records are visible from both type from both tables in a related list? All right, I need everyone on this one because we've done this. What could it be? Could it be a database view? Could it be many to many? Could it be one to many or extended? Because I don't want to take much time. The answer is B. But guys, let's just try to get an input. It should be an interactive class. We've done these things now, so everyone should just try and put something. Even if you're not correct, nobody's going to body shame anybody here now. So we're just trying to learn. We're all learning, right? So just put an answer so that you can encourage me. Because if people are not responding, then there's no point for me to carry on with this practice class. So if you feel that it's not important, I might just ignore it after today. So I need everyone to be inclusive in this part of it. If you're not going to talk, just go on your keypad, whatever answer you feel, choose something, right? I took my time to actually get these questions to include it. All right, so the answer is B. Many to bed, they say bi-directional relationship, both ways, right? So, and I made an example of your column and your group and row, right? So that was the bi-directional relationship. Now, number 8, group records are stored in which table? Which table do they store your group record? Number 8. Any guess? Carry on. We just have C. Okay. B. Okay. D. Okay. All right. The answer is B. For those that chose B, you are correct. Like I said, when you go to service, I'm still going to show you guys again. Always take notice of that table name there. The sys ID, the service now call it a name. When you have your label and name, so the name service now gives it is always sys underscore under. So for group is sys underscore user underscore group because user are under group. So the answer is what? Is B. Now, number 9, tables may have a one-to-many relationship from the ServiceNow catalog, which are example of the table having a one-to-many relationship. We've actually not done that, but this one, but I'm just going to give a brief explanation of what it means. Now, one-to-many relationship is a part of the table, right? Now, let's just use a bit of a ideology on this one. Now, one person can can have many requests. So if I'm the manager, right, I have to give approval, and I have other colleagues, like 6, 7 colleagues under me. Definitely, they have to get approval for me. Would you call that one-to-many relationship? That's one. Now, one request can have many requested items. Is that true? If I make a request, can I have many from that? It's left for you to answer. Still, it says one request item can have many approval. So if I make a request, it might not be only my manager that will approve it. My manager can approve, his own manager can approve, another manager can also approve. That is another one. D, one request item can have many catalog tags. Probably one request item, when you talk about catalog tags, we've not gotten to catalog anyway, but I'm going to explain that. So if you're talking about your catalog tax is like after you've made your request, after it has been approved, it will be created, a tax will be created for it. right? So that one is just for that one. Then one cart can have many requests. I would go with one approver. One approver can have many requests. Yes, because I am the one to approve it, and other people can make requests from it. Another is one request item can have many approvers. There can be many people that will approve it. So one request can go through many approvers. Then another one is one catalog cannot have many requests. Yeah, one catalog can have many requests because a catalog can be when you go to shop, more people can buy that product, right? So the answer is A, C, and E. But we're going to get to catalog, then maybe that one will actually make more sense. Now, number 10, a user is complaining that they are seeing a blank page when they click create new. From your custom inventory application, you have, a, sorry, hold on, it's confirm. All right, the A is one approver can have many requests, right? When people are requesting for something, I'm not explaining in terms of the catalog right now. Now, when people request, each of those requests must go through an approver, right? So if I am the one, I am a manager. That's why I use a manager and a team. So a manager has a team of 5 or 6. Now, if the 6 people make requests, I can be the only one that will approve the 6 of them. So if they want to go on a leave, right? If they want to go for leave, 6 of them will send requests to me, right? I would approve it. So that is a request. One approver can have so many requests. So that's for that one. Now, a user is complaining that they can see a blank page. They can see a blank page. When they click create new from your custom inventory application, you have confirmed that they can see the inventory application and the create new menu on the application navigator. What could be the cause of the issue? I need answer for this. We've done this. I've explained it. So I need us to say something about this one. One, create a new menu. Create new menu has a broken link. B, known intermittent issue with UI 15. User should be using Chrome instead of Explorer for their browser. User has read row, but not the right row in the inventory table. User session has timeout. All right, guys, continue. Yeah, carry on, carry on, carry on. Ime, Anthony, please. Okay. All right. The answer is D. That's correct. I said that yesterday again. I said if you have, depend on the kind of roles you are given, determine what you can see. So that's why it's timeout. So these are applicational questions. So if you impersonate somebody, the essence of you to impersonate somebody to see the issue that they are going through and see how you can actually resolve it. Now, number 11, which component of the table contain a piece of data for one record? Fast fingers, please. Fast fingers. What's the answer? A, factor. B, field. C, data point. D, element. E, item. All right. Okay. Come on, guys. Email Tony. What's your answer, please? Yeah, correct. That's it. Now, number 12. User record are stored in which table? User record are stored in which table? Yeah. Tony, the answer is field. From my definition of yesterday, you see that it's a group of records, a table, a role. Is it a role of is it a role in a record? No, 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 not that one. How did I define it yesterday? I'm sorry, I didn't cram it. But the answer is field. How did I know the answer is field? Is because a role in a table containing specific information. Right now, a field is a column in the table that holds the data value, which includes TVQ, label, names, and value. Now, from that question, it says which component in a table contain a piece of data from one record. So if you check your record, right, that has to do with for instance, Moses, what's your name? Moses, your username and all that. It contains into a label, name, and value. That is a full row. In that process, you call it what? A field. In that column that it creates on that, it's called the what? The field. Exactly, yeah. So the answer for number 12, it's A, sys underscore user. That's correct. Now, number 13, what ServiceNow feature allow you to include data from a secondary related table on a report? Can you guys just guess this one? I know I've not, I've said, yeah, if you have watched, what they call it, if you've been through the university, ServiceNow University learning course, you have an idea about this one. Yeah, the answer is B, dot working. So when you dot work, you can dot work to another table, from one table to another table. You can dot work. It's just like a relation between them. So for instance, I might have a table here and I want to get information from a user table. So what you need to do, what you need to do there is it's called dot working to get the information from a secondary related table. Now, what are example of core table in the ServiceNow platform? What are the example of core table? Guys, just go through this one. It's not difficult. So I need you guys to answer. One person said C. Uh, I need others to put their answer. One person says C. What's the answer, please? Email, Tony. Yes, another person says C. Two people more. What's the answer? We did this yesterday. We did this yesterday. We worked on this part yesterday. Email, what's the answer, please? All right. The answer is okay. Yes, you're right. The answer is C. No, yes, user tags and incidents, like I said yesterday. So when you go, core tables are basically tables that have been created by ServiceNow. They don't have anything to do with whether they are from a extended table or don't know. As long as they are already being created by ServiceNow, they are called core table. And C is the word answer. Oh, okay. On a filter condition, so where I get the questions from, they always all right. From a filter condition, there is an element which is based on the table, the user access rights and column on the table. What is the element called? On a filter condition. Any idea? Which is based on the table. User access rights. What's it called, guys? Any idea? Okay. When we get to the class, this is the first thing we'll do so that you can see it. E. Okay. Others. Just give me a moment, please. Sorry for the break in transmission. I had one this thing call I needed to sort out. All right. So if you go back, it said on a field condition, there's an element which is based on the table, the user access rights, and the column on the on the table. What is the element called? The element is D. The element is your field. So you're in on that your field, you could see that you have your user access rights. It's just a wording actually. So when they are filtered, if you check your column, under each of your column, you have a row, right? So under your what do you call it? Under your each of the rows, you have a column there. Now under that column, what is the output you get? Now, the output you get under your column is what I told you about initially, where you have your label name and value, which is your field. So the answer there is field. So as long as you are seeing column on a table, I think that one should be more easier because anything that has to do with field, field is a column in a table that holds your value, sorry, that holds your label, name, and value. So take note whenever you see that word there, that column on a table. Forget about the initial comment. It just comes out like that. Um, when you say the user access rights and column in the table, there's an element filter condition. You know, when you go to your filter, right? When you go to your, if you try to filter is not really basically you're trying to create anything, right? So that's the difference there, where you're instead of your string and your float and your integers, yeah, basically. Now, number 16, table may be set up with many to many relationship. What is a classic example of a scenario where a table would have many to many relationships? Can you guys just guess this one? I know I've not taught this. We've done tax yesterday. We did tax yesterday, but we've not done catalog. We've not done but just check if you can answer. So one vendors can sell multiple products. Products can be sold by multiple vendors. A. B. Tasks can trigger many workflow. Yeah, it's FLO. Yeah, many workflow. And a workflow can trigger many tasks. B. Now, requests can contain many items. Item can be any item from the catalog. Configuration item can belong to multiple class. A class can contain multiple configuration items. I will go with task and workflow because a task can trigger a workflow, and also a workflow can trigger other tasks. So, example of that one is if, for instance, I say if somebody wants to buy an item, when the person click, if you check how you buy stuffs online, right? If you go, you click your items and you send it. When you send it, it goes through a process. You pay. Now, the moment you pay, right, it triggers already for what people to do. Now, the actions that comes out is one, people will have to go and buy the item. Now, when someone buys the item, another person has to send the item. So you see that one workflow can trigger many tasks, right? And also, a task can also trigger many workflow. Now, which one of the following statements is true about column context menu? Guys, I need you to check this one, see what you can do about it, see if you have any idea. You go. Is anyone answering? All right, so it said, which one of the following statements is true about column context menu? Now, it displays actions such as creating quick reports, configure lists, exports data, It display action related to filter option, assign tag. Okay, it display action related to viewing and filtering the entire list. It display action to view form. So the answer is what is A, configure. Once you right click, there's something very something you always see whenever you right click on a form, whenever you right click on a list, you see something that once you see that configure, just know that is A. Now, which of the following is used to categorize tags and locate record? Can you guess this one? Which of the following is used to and tag, categorize, tag, and locate records? So for that one, the answer is tag. Take note, your tag. Like I said to you guys the other time, you can use tag to just to bookmark all your activities you are doing, right? You can just say, or you want to see all the projects you are working on, you can tag them. And when you just open it, you can see everything that what you've done there. So not like you guys are doing bad, but you just need to be more attentive about some certain key things that are important. And we also have this practice session come next week. So we'll go back to what we have today. Before I go to what we're doing today, is there any question? All right. If you have any question, you can just drop your question if you are shy to talk, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question. If everyone is good, just give a thumbs up. Just give thumbs up if you're all right. If everyone is good with if there's no question, just give a thumbs up and let's go. Yeah, email is fine. And yeah, and to get the assignment done. All right. With regards to the assignment, right? If you are new, I would advise you go to YouTube. I can drop the handle and you will get the startup point form. You need a PDI, right? You need a PDI for you to create, what's it called? Create an instance. So when you have your instance, that is where you're going to work on. That's where you're going to do all your assignments on. And if you're not able to get an instance, just go to ServiceNow University. After you've registered, go and try register for ServiceNow Developer on Demand, for the ServiceNow Developer Fundamental on Demand. And when you start the course, there is always a PDI you can use for your practice. So these are two ways. Either you get your own PDI or you use the practice PDI from university learning. Does that answer your question? Thank you. All right. Yesterday create we tried to create table and we created a table, right? Now I want to show you that there are other ways you can create table. Must not be you using that going through that table and all that. You can go straight to your table builder. So you go on your application menu and you click on all. Just click on table. Once you click on table, there's a table builder there. Now with this one, we're just going to go straight to App Engine. Now when you go straight to App Engine, you click on ServiceNow Studio. Now when they say application, each of all these Now, when you click on your all, you are going to everything you see in here are different applications. So when you click on your all, you have different applications. You can create your own application. So if for instance, want to create a loan app where people can register and get loan from it. So that's what we're going to create right now. But also it includes everything you're doing. It includes your scope. It includes you trying to create a table, include you trying to create a form. So this is what we're going to do today, first of all. So if we go to service, um, yeah, so under new, now you click on create. It will ask you, are you trying to create a file or are you trying to create an app? Or go for the app. Now, what are we going to call it? Loan app. Loan app. That's what we're calling it. What's the description? App for collecting loan. Now, I did define scoped and global yesterday. So I'm going to go with scope. I don't want it to be global because there's also further explanation I'm going to give with this. So for my image, I have a nice logo already prepared. So it's part of Elax solution. In case you still you want money, and also come to us here. We'll give you some with interest. Just joking anyway. All right, so let's go back to. So it asks you file. Now you can view app, you can create file. Now this is like a workspace, or basically this is a workspace. Now ServiceNow have different kind of workspace where you can design things, and you have different tab opening. So how do you know something is a workspace? On your URL, you can see I have different tabs open here. I have different tabs open, right? This is similar to what you have in a workspace. In a workspace, you can have so many tabs there. That's how you know you are using a workspace. Now, when you click on create file, right? When you click on create file, you have lots of things you see by the right side, the left side of it. You have automation, you have client development, you have content, you have data, you have integration inbound, outbound. You are integrating that you are trying to integrate with other um maybe like other APIs, right? ServiceNow to ServiceNow is inbound. When you're integrating with something else like Jira is outbound. Integrating with AWS is outbound. So we have inbound and outbound. So, and when you are leaving, right, you're going out. We're going to do that in integration anyway. So let me not just over the explanation. All right. So what we want right now, because I'm creating a table, I'm creating an app. I know what I'm looking for. The next thing I'll look for is your data. So I'll click on my data. Now, under my data, what am I looking for? I'm looking for table because I want to create a table for that, for my loan app. Now, when I mean table, it's just like a database where I will save all the information I'm going to get from the customers, right? So guys, you can see now in this table, what are we going to name the table, the label of the table? So I'm just going to say the same thing, loan app. Automatically the table will be created, and you can see in creating an application, right? Because the application is created by is not created by service now, right? You're going to have sys underscore sn in front of it. Sys underscore sn in front of it. That shows you that it's a what custom created what table. Do I want to extend it from a tax table? The answer is no. Now, do I want to create a menu? Yes. Create new. I'll say create new menu. Yeah, exactly. So uh, we're also going to do create model. We're going to create model for it. So the create model could be when you click on create a model, the form is going to display, right? You're going to have your list. You're going to add create new form so that you're able to see in everything is being done in your ServiceNow studio. You can do a lot of things in your ServiceNow studio. You can create your app, you can create your table. Because you've already scoped it, it means it's only those that have the right, they have that role, will be able to access it. All right, so let's carry on. So what do I want in my table? First of all, I'm just going to that feature. No, 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 no. All right. So to start up, what do I need in my table? First of all, I need the name of the person. I need the first name. What's it going to be? A string. So I click on save. Now, when I click on submit, you can see that my loan app is created with the it does not have a table yet. Now I'm going to add my table to it. So first thing is I have to click on save first. Now I'm going to add new. If I come to new, I will be able to add different columns, different columns there. So the first thing I want under this place is what I want a string here. I don't need to press this. If I know what I want, I can just type string and that's it. Now, these are functionalities in your table. Now, when you the table you are creating, this is a form that people will fill that which will update your table. Now, each of these fields, what do you want? There are some certain things you can do. This is just a partial restriction, but it's not really a restriction, but it's partial mandating people to do some certain things. That's why when you're trying to fill out a form, there are some that you can only just see an input there. Those are the read only. You can't do anything about that. Mandatory, you must fill in something in mandatory. Display and read only, they are similar, right? Display and read only, they are similar. So what's the label name? First, I have to call it a name. First name. Automatically, that will be created. I might say 200 and just submit. Now, I said something the other day. So if you guys see something here, before we go further, they said dictionary entry manage how service now store data in tables and fields. Now, if this is how service now store data in tables and fields, right? If you are asked what is dictionary override, it means you are trying to upturn whatever has been stored in that table and that field type, right? But we're going to we're going to see a practical example of that in the coming classes here. So I'm just going to click submit. So it's 4:01. We're just going to have 9 minutes break. It's not going to be up to 10. It doesn't have 9 minute breaks. Then we'll all converge again at 4:10. So 9 minute break for those that want to have water and all that. You can just go and sort yourself out. Then 4:10 we'll converge again. Thank you guys. Yeah, so let's continue. All right, so now, well, we're just going to check. So we've created it, and now we'll go back to the loan table app. Now, if we refresh this, when you refresh, you see that your first name is here. So that was just the first way. You can click on new and you can update it, or you can just click on insert. So I just want to do a quick one, last name. I'm not going to add more last name. I'm not going to add more labels, more column labels, just few of it. Names. I click on the plus sign. I put on string. Now, when you say the type, it can be string. String is for alphabets. Integers is for numbers. So those are just the basic ones. You can have your date and time. There are so many of them. You can look up them. Are you referencing it to a table? This is where you're going to see that sign they've asked about, where you see something like the circle and like a branch. That's a reference field. So if you want to reference it to something, you're going to get that um on your own form. So what number do I want? I can say 200 also and click on yes. Display, no, just leave it like this. So this is what we're going to have so that we can do more things. So when I click on update, I told you guys when you click on save, you're just gonna have it. You click on insert and stay, you're still gonna have what you're having. But when you click on updates, it means you're overriding what you've already just submitted. So I'm just gonna click on updates. Now, before we go further, you can see this is what this is your it's called create access control. Yes, so it means we're going to use this on access control after we've done the creation because if they don't have this access, they cannot use this particular application. Whichever group or user that don't have this access, this role cannot use the application. So this is going to be very important while we go on. Auto number. If you click auto number, it means you want to have a loan number display on your form automatically. So it's left for you depending on what you want. Now, when it comes to access, you can give, for instance, on this application scope, is an application scope, and when it goes to none, so in the new builder, there's where you can have places to choose. Oh, all right. So this is we have this one. Allow if to write, allow if to create, allow if to read, allow if to delete. So we're going to use all this in access. So I can click all of them. I can click all of them. For every of my users, this is what they can do. They can create, they can read, they can create, they can update, they can delete. Now, some questions. Take note. If you see what we have here, there's no update, right? So under ACL, you don't have updates. Instead, you have rights. So when you are asked a question, what can a user do? Right? If they have an access, what can they do? What is their limitation? And you see create, read, delete, and write. If you are seeing an update, it if you see update there, it's the same thing. But most times they tend to ACLs they tend to use write for updates. So don't get confused with that. Just take note of that particular one. All right. So if we're done, I'm just going to update. after updating, I would want to go back to my application. Now, you see all these files here? I'll go to my app. I click on the loan app. So under the loan app now, I've seen you have your data column. So under this tab, under this your data column, your loan app. So we've created that. So let's go back to your service now. So it's not created yet. So when you update, I no, I'm not creating a new one. I want to launch this one. All right, application menu. You have your access control. You have your loan access field. All right. Okay. So the next thing we will go to is to to show the form. Now, when you go to show form, I can put the first one, Moses, Mo, Amy. I submit. So I can go back to my table. So if I go back, so if I go to show list, one has been created. This is exactly not the interface I was looking at, but I will show you another interface. That's why I told you guys sometimes that when you are working with, you're working in service now and you're using your own PDI, that some are quite different from the others. So what I was expecting on this app should be a bit different. It's a bit different from what I got right now. Mm. And the only reason now, take note, when you are trying to create your own using Studio app, you might have an issue with there's what they call pipe the pipeline. So I'm still trying to resolve my own. I've not done that, so I was having issues with my pipeline. So that's why I actually switched to this one, thinking that it's just going to solve my issue. Okay, I need to log out of this one. Just a second, guys. All right, so let's just continue. So that is this. So we've actually created the app. Now we're going to go straight now to your ACLs. When I sort what I'm trying to do, I might reshare it and just do a brief demo on that again. Until I sort that out, my system didn't. I've been trying to work on it for since about 2 hours ago. I couldn't really sort it out, but hopefully for the next class. But this is basically how you can go into it. You just go to the app you create. You can have your form. You can see all the things you want to on your loan app. So if you go back now, when it's being created, you can create new ones. You can create new ones here. So when you're done, supposed to have a place where we can Click on submit. Okay. No, not that one. Data application module security. It's not giving me how I want the access. All right. So this is what I was looking for, details. Now, when we are done, the next thing you have to do, you have to make sure you publish it. Because if you don't publish it, it's not going to be effective. It's not going to reflect. So now we click on publish. Now, instance need more setup. Ask your admin to check validity of the um, company code. Try publish again later. So this is what I have on my other one, right? This is what I encounter. But how to resolve this one is to come down to this place. You go down to service now studio, service now studio. Go to pipeline. All right, guys. Now, if you want to resolve this issue I'm having, you have to come to this guided setup. So for every of you that you're going to click on publish and you're going to have this issue, this is what you need to do because they had to do it repository. So you need to go through this guided setup and it's very easy. They tell you everything to do. This is step one. Step one say our production instance, configure your pipeline and associate environment to streamline your app deployment process. So because I'm going to deploy my app, I need to make sure these things are resolved, right? So I want you guys, you go back on your spare time, see if you can resolve it. If you can't, drop me a message before the next class and I would resolve it with you guys and we'll just go through it on your PDI on your own instance. So this is what I was trying to do before now. I I only knew that they had the guided setup about some minutes to the class because I was trying some other document I saw. But with this guided setup, it has been easy for me to set it up, but I didn't go through it. But obviously after the class, I'm going to go through it. But if you can't also just let me know, I would assist. So with that, we've actually talked on tables, we've talked on task table, we've worked on scope and global, and also I've showed you there that is the scope and global. So now after that we talked on tasks, the structures, talked on incidents, problem and change request tables, how they get their own they get their base table from core, they get their parent table or their base from tax table, right? So with all that, we're going to go into what ACL means. So for ACL, I'm just going to share my screen. Mm. All right, so this was what this one is just in service now. So the shortcut for your welcome studio, what we just check right now, what we just used, these are just few shortcuts you can use to set up to start up yourself. But now we're going to talk on access control list. What is access control list? An access control list is like what? It's a security rule that restricts users
to access what? Tables, records, and fields. Now, the fact that I restrict you from being in a group, right? I can also allow you to be in that group. So it's just like a house. When if you're knocking at my door and I don't let you in, first of all, you don't have access to my house, right? Now I give you access to my house. I don't want you to go inside my rooms. I only want you to go around the living room, or call it parlor, whatever you call it, living room and all that. And you have permission to go to the kitchen. So as most visitors do, when you come down, most houses they just have their living room there, their sitting room there. You can just go straight to the sitting room. If I don't want you access to my kitchen also, I can still restrict you, right? So that's the essence of access control. Is it restricts users from the tables, the record, and the field. So you can have access to a table, but you might not have access to the records. You can have access to the records, you might not have access to the field. I'll give you an example. Now you can have access to incident table. Now inside that incident table, you can have access to the users, but you cannot have access to people, to the names in that users. That's the field, right? So it's just restricting you. Now, what are the kind of access? What are access? Access can also be permission to control who can read, who can update, who can write, and who can what? Delete. So it has to be who can read, write, update, and delete. But it can come as create. Most times you can see create, like the ones we saw the last time, they said create. So the previous one was read, write, update, and delete. Presently, they changed it to create, read, write, and delete. So whichever one you see, take note of that. Now, this is basically just to enhance data security, right? By restricting access based on what your role, the condition, and the script. Now, when you talk about role, like I've said, if you have a role, you have access to, like you can still see things depending on what the role carries, right? Now, condition, I might say if you are in IT department, you can have certain access. But if you are in HR department, you can have certain access, a different access. So that those are just conditions that are just saying they are you are putting a restriction, right, based on what they can access. Now, script. When you come to script, is you are writing a condition in a script way. They have out of the box scripting, just conditions where they say, if this is this, then do this. Where you have your field operation, no, you have your value operation and a field. That's for your condition in service now. We're going to get into that also. Now, if you go through this place, this is what we're talking about. Each access control rule specifies what a valid operation, a valid action the system can take, which is CRUD. Create, read, update, and delete. That's your CRUD. Now, object being secured, e.g., table, tables, and field. Now, if you check when we go to the access control, you would see that under your CMDB hardware HHD, which I asked you guys to create the table then. Now you see that they have what operations. The operation is what access does it have? What is it going to do? It could be to read, it could be to write, depend on what it has. And you can make it active. You're going to see the PDF for that. Now, if the permission requires to what? To access the object role, condition expression, conditional expression, and script, which I just what explained. Now, before that, I was supposed to work on this slide. User permission summary. First of all, user on uh, authentication and login. Now, for you to log in, you have to be a user. For you to have access to roles, you have to be in a group, right? And also the roles in the group. So these are what authentication access for users. This is what will tell you this person, first of all, can get to my instance. Now, you have application and module access governed by roles. Now, application and module access is when you create a module. I'm still going to show you that you can, when you have a module, you can create what, and when you have you've created a table, you can create an application for that table, and you can also create a module. Just like when we have incident, we have open, we have create list, create new, and all that, where you can have an action. So those application and module access, they are governed by what? By the role. Now, database access, that is when you're talking about, like I told you yesterday, your database is basically your what? Your tables. So database access what? Anything that has to do with tables, record and fields, they are they are all governed by they are governed by what? By your database access, right? Now your tables, record and field governed by your what? Global system properties, governed by system control rules. Now, these are all under access control. And for you to be able to do it, you might need to elevate yourself, first of all, as an admin to a security admin role because you are overriding. So you need to elevate your role for you to what? Edit and access ACL access control list. So I just talked about this one. Where we have the create, read, update, and delete. So you have your row base, row level, we have your column level. So somebody can see what this column, but you cannot see the rows. So the rows are basically the inputs. If you have this header as user, what you have on this row is the name of the person. So you can allow people to just see this part, but they cannot see the rows, right? You can restrict them in ServiceNow. Now, what are the kind of restriction, first of all? So when you're restricting people, there's what they call access control. Hello, Ope, can you mute yourself, please? All right, thank you. So now we have this what they call access control definition. Take notes. Rules type. The first one you have table dot none. The definition is there also. No specific field selected. This rule applies to the whole table, including all the records. Now you have table dot field. This rule applies to only one field. It means you have to pick that field that the rule will apply to. Now you're setting up this rule for security reasons. You're trying to protect the information there. You're trying to limit people that can have access to that information. Now you have stable dot asterisk. Now they call it wildcards. That particular sign we call it wildcards in ServiceNow. Now this rule applies to every field in on a record without a table field rule. So if for instance you say, oh, everyone is in your, like you have about 15 rooms in your house, and in 15 rooms you have keys to 5, the other 10 are open. You can use this table dot wildcard to work on the rules that will affect the other rooms. How? Just come out of the house and lock the door. Obviously, if there's an access to that to your rooms, most times people have a door before the rooms. You can lock that main room, that main door, just after your parlor. You can just lock that main door. All it will affect to all those other ones that don't have what restriction. But in that case, Let me just explain it properly. Now, if a particular field does not have a rule on it, a particular field does not have a rule, a particular field does not have a rule, and you use this asterisk, it will include all those ones that don't have a rule. Sorry, all those rooms that don't have rules, that is going to be affected by this rule. So in terms of that door will not work, it's automatic. If you're saying you have automatic card, yes, you can say with that automatic card, all the other doors that are open, because of that automatic card, you can lock them and use, they will be under that automatic card. Yeah, that's just the rules we're talking about. So that's for that. Now, level of security in ServiceNow. Now, ServiceNow, they do enforce what security in multiple layers. First of all, the login security. For you to get access to any instance, you have to be a registered, you have to register with them. So when you register, we can authenticate you. So that is the first way to restrict people from just using an instance. Another one, still under login, you can control them, you can control that login via roles and group by putting people in a group and role, which I've said. And also your application and module security, where you can use app to restrict people, and your table and feed level security. And we've talked about CRUD, where you have your um, allow people to what, to create a record. That's for create. Allow people to just view a record. That's for view. For read. Allow people to edit a record. You can say write or edit. That's for what? For update. And you can allow people to delete record. That's for delete. Now, there are other terms, additional ServiceNow specific access control list operation that has to do with what? Execute, add CI relation, save as template, report on, personalized choice. So these are other they are actions, they are ACL operations, which they are just additional, they are not the basic. Now, under service security module in ServiceNow, how would you get to that module on your ServiceNow? So in no time, we're just going to go into our PDI and able to see all what we just discussed about. All right, so I could not publish this one. So first thing I'll do is I'll elevate my role. I'll click on elevate and I'll update it. I've elevated it. Now, so when you click on under system security, you have your ACL. Now, all you can see here, the access control list, right? If we were able to create the loan app we're trying to create, we would see that. Let me see if it's even display here. I know I need to use my PDI for that. I think I have something installed already. So I'm moving within two PDI. One is the free version, and the other one is the Sorry, just a minute. Okay. All right. I have created an application here, and this will be easy to explain. So if I go to ACL, all right. So when I click on access control, I'm going to look for the application that I have created before. So I'm going to check names, and I'm going to say start with contain. Now, this is a condition on its own. So you can use this one. They have different, you can say contain. So if I go to contain, like I'm trying to find what I have created before. So I can use this search, this breadcrumbs to find out exactly what was created. So solution. So I made a mistake. So you can see because I made a typographical error, it's not going to display. So if you are using this one, you have to put the exact thing. I checked the wrong one. Mm, mm, mm. All right, so we have Elax solution here. Let me see what the table contains. So we've created two tables. Okay. Going to so I'm going to go to access control. I have to create one for it. So if you, because I understand what I'm doing, I know what I'm looking for, it might be easy for me to just go around and keep searching, right? We have 48,012. So I'm trying to get the Ella solution, solutions. Let's see if I get solutions out first. So Elax. Another thing you need to know, if you've not created that access control on the Elax, so we only created what's it called the tables. We did not create an application for it. So if we create an application, that is when we're going to have that particular access control list. But with that, I'm just going to choose any other one since what I created is not displaying. I'm going to delete this breadcrumbs, delete. Okay, so once you click on this part, hide and filter, it takes away what you're trying to delete or create before. So let me pick. All right, guys. So you can see that these are things that I created this one today. This loan app. So when I did create the loan app, these are things that if anyone must access this loan app that I created, this record is in a loan application, but sales in the current application. To edit, click here. I'm going to do that later. But I just want to explain one or two things to you guys. So first of all, we have a row. This is the row. Now, for anybody to be able to access the application, it needs this row. Now, inside this row, when you go back here, all these things you see that have X in front of them, they were all created by me. X underscore, not just X. You see, we have X dot here. This one is created by service now out of the box. But X underscore 2O, X underscore anything you are seeing, it's what is created by you. It's your custom application. But as long as it does not have X underscore in front of it, it's not a custom what application. Now, these are um, ACLs. Now, a user can have this right. If I assign a read write and delete to any user, they can have access to the tables. And I can also restrict them with this access also. If I remove this access from them, they will not have what opportunity to either read, write, or delete. Now, if this one is read, I have to elevate myself. If I want to edit this particular access control, I have to elevate myself to elevated row. I click on this, I click on yes, update. Now, if you notice, before I updated it, most of them were blank. I could not do anything about it. Now, because this particular one, like I said, it has not really, it's not well created. I've had issues with it saying I need to update. You can see here, the record is on the loan app, but sales app is the current application. So I need to edit it, right? So I'll go back, I'll go to sales app and see what sales app is on. All right, guys, if you notice, before I elevated my row, oh yeah, so you can see it's editable now. I can edit this one, but I want to go back. So before I elevated my row, did you see this sign new? Was it visible to me? The answer is no. Now, if I go back and cancel and update, on ACL, I'm just like every other user. If I click on these sales, you see that they are all read only. You cannot do anything on this particular um, content menu. They are all read only. But the moment I go back here, you will not see anything like new, any action here for me to create, right? But once I come to this place, my user menu, and I click on elevate row, I click on here, security admin. When you elevate your role, you're having a security admin role. Now, new, there's what they call new. Now, with this new, you'll be asked which record. So you can set the type. Say, oh, I want to work on record. That is one. Two, what operation is it to create? So you have to create each of them. But under your application, all these things are automatically created. They are there. Just like the other one I created that you're seeing sales there. They are there in sales. So you have to create them. So if I say I want to create, you have just you have some options, right? So you can go for delete. So these are the major four: create, read, write, and delete. You can do other things depending on what you are working on. But it's not depending on your user story, determine what you're going to use in your operation. So we're using create for this one. Admin override, yes. Active, yes. Sales app. Because of my configuration right now, I went to use save sales app as the main application. Is supposed to be all. During that guided setup, I didn't use the guided setup. I went to create that, so I messed it up a bit. I will need to readjust that before I will be able to move forward with this particular session, which is going to be next week, right? But this is decision type if allowed. But take note, when you say deny unless, in service now, denier is stronger than allowed. Once you say deny, once the condition is not met, it denies it immediately. Allow is still okay, but allow supersede denial in service now. Sorry, denial supersede allowed in service now. So if I say deny, once it's deny all, it goes deny. Nothing is going to go through. So you have your protection policy. It can be read only or protected, depending on your user story. So this is where it comes down to the none. This is where you can have your none, table.none, because this is the name of the table, dot none, right? And you write your rows and you can give your conditions here. Now, when you give your conditions here, you give your criteria. You can say this particular no as maintained rule, nobody, no, global domain. So the condition you are setting, it's each of the, so let's see, which of the is true. Now, if this is true, right, this condition will work. If this one is not true, then it will not work. So that is where the condition comes in. We're going to have a practical example for that next week, but I'm just trying to give you an insight to it. You can create a role here. And so if you can see this condition, look at what it says. Access control rules have two decision types, and this type will behave differently depending on the condition. Now, allow access to resources if all conditions are met. So I can say the user should be in IT department, number one. The user should be active, number two. Those are my two conditions. Now, for the person to have access to a table, I might set a condition for it. Now, if I set a condition for it, if the conditions are not met, the person cannot access that table. But if the conditions are met, the person can what? Access the table. Now, deny access to resources unless all conditions are met. You can also use deny access to those. So if these things are not complete, right, it will be denied. But if this thing allow access to resources for if conditions are met, so you can either what? Deny, or you can allow access to what? To service now. You can see additional ACL may not grant access to record where this ACL has denied access. So you see, deny access is stronger. Deny access is what? Is stronger. So that is what we have for today. I'm sorry about my PDI, but I need to configure them properly. So like I said to you guys, what you need to do if you want to do that assignment, you want to create an application, follow up on what I just did, you need to go through that guided setup under your what? Your application Under your pipeline, just type pipeline there. Under app engine, pipeline, go through the guided setup and see if you can set yourself up before the next class. So that's what we're going to do. Um, just have few time. Does anyone have any question? Does anyone have any question, please? So if there's no question, just give a thumbs up and you know you're all right for today. All right, Jackson's fine. You may okay. So if you don't understand, um, go through the video again. If you still have any challenge, send me a message. I would reach out to you. And also, please make sure you do your assignments. Thank you, guys. Do have a lovely week ahead. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye for now.